I'm not the target demographic of this. Right off the bat, I'm letting you know. The most I saw of Godzilla was the American adaptation, and also in the not in '95. I think it was 1995, and then again the American adaptation in 2010, which wasn't so bad. It had some good moments, but I know a lot of people like the Japanese version a lot, especially the versus ones that can be a little campy, but people love them, and I understand why, because you just want to see monsters beat the shit out of each other. So going into this, I didn't have much exposure to Godzilla, so I wasn't exactly the target demographic, but I heard it was so great, and I saw it in theaters, both the color version and the black and white version. So, and I had a ton of fun with this movie. And what I liked about it was it really focused on the human element of Godzilla with the kamikaze pilot. And he feels responsible in a way that Japan lost the war, because as a kamikaze pilot, he didn't do his duty of fulfilling it and actually being a kamikaze pilot by slamming it into a ship. And he feels personally responsible for that he didn't do it. And so he comes back to Japan after it's been just firebombed in Tokyo. He lost his mother and his father. He literally has nothing when he comes back to Japan. And he is racked with guilt so badly, especially with his neighbor when he first comes back. And just like, he's like, why didn't you do your, if it wasn't for you, my family would still be here. So he's just racked with guilt from that. And later in the film, he's just like eating some gruel or whatever they got from a stand, I guess. And this lady, this woman comes by they're saying, hey, stop her. She stole some stuff. He's about to, and then she just hands him a baby. He's like, and afterwards he realized what she gave him. He's like, what am I supposed to do with this? So he kind of takes her and the child on. It isn't her child, and she's sort of a vagabond, and he comes to have responsibility over this baby and this woman. And so, but he has no money, so he doesn't know what he's gonna do. So he takes on a government job to basically sweep mines and blow them up and everything like that on this wooden ship. And he gets he forms a bond between a scientist, a war veteran, and a person and a kid. Well, I shouldn't say kid, a young adult that didn't get to serve in the war, and he feels like he should have. And the kamikaze pilot's like, don't ever say that. No one should want to go to war. And he's like, okay. So he forms a bond with them by basically doing this job, gets some money, and over the course of a couple years, you see Japan starting to rebuild, and him starting to, he is able to get enough money to where he actually rebuilds his family home. And it shows that he's getting a nice jacket, a nice motorcycle. So he's starting to do well with his government job. But then Godzilla in the background makes landfall and starts tears into Japan. And so after that incident, they're like, what are we going to do? We can't stop. They had tanks, they had fire jets. I don't think they had fire jets, but they had tanks. It wasn't doing anything to Godzilla. So the scientist that he formed a bond with decides, hey, we're going to do this plan. And they're not military sanctioned or anything. It's just him and these military veterans. And one of them was like, so is this government funded? And she's like, no. And the scientist goes, no, this is a voluntary citizen plan. And the war veteran goes, well, it's better than what we normally do. So you see that the veterans sort of have kind of a grudge against the Japanese government, but they're proud of their Japanese people, to where they're like, hey, if this is voluntary, we're gonna do this for Japan, and it's out of our decision. And so after the plan is put into place and they're gonna do it, the kamikaze pilot actually sends out all these letters, kind of rage baiting this mechanic that feels that the kamikaze pilot was responsible for his friends getting killed. And it's sort of like a redemption between him. Oh, spoilers, by the way. If you don't want to hear any more if you don't want to hear spoilers, Just don't watch the rest of this video. So the kamikaze pilot mechanic, the mechanic realizes that he really wants to put his life on the line of taking out Godzilla and fulfilling his duty of being a kamikaze pilot. But so him, like the mechanic, works on this basically prototype airplane before the war was after the war was over, to basically do this. And so because the mechanic sees he's so gung ho of doing his duty, he actually shows them, hey, there's an ejection seat on this plane. So when you go into the mouth, just like pull it and get out, basically. And so it's sort of a redemption between both of them, by coming like reconciling and feeling like actually like forming a bond over that and forgiving one another for what they did, basically, and what they didn't do, basically. And it was just a really good film, and both in color and in black and white. But if you're gonna see this for the first time, I suggest black and white, because it's another feeling of seeing that in that without color, in my opinion. And funny enough, I got both the Japanese collector's edition and the US edition, mainly because I didn't realize the Japanese edition didn't have English subtitles. So that was my bad. Because I've gotten Japanese versions of anime and stuff, and it comes with English subtitles, just not with English dub. So that was my bad that I didn't do research. So I own both versions, and I absolutely love like the case and everything like that of the physical media. And I really highly suggest, even if you're not a fan of Godzilla, definitely watch this film. I guarantee you will really enjoy the film, just from the human element, and also the camaraderie of the Japanese soldiers and how they felt during that time. Because a lot of them felt abandoned by the Japanese government after they served in World War II. And I thought that was an interesting thing. Oh, another thing, the young guy that they were on the boat with that didn't serve in World War II. I almost forgot about this. There's a really, really good scene of like before the next day when they're about to put in their plan into action. The scientist and the war veteran basically tell him, hey, don't you're too young, you're not going to be in this, you're not going to participate in this plan. And he's like, please take me with you. And they're walking away, and he's screaming. And I thought, and the scientist and the war veteran basically goes, we're leaving you a world better than what it was, and showing that these war veterans wanted to leave the citizens with a better world than that they experienced. And I thought that was a really good, heartfelt scene of like the older generation going through hard times and trying to leave the new generation better times. And I thought that was just a really good scene, in my opinion. Really hits in the heart. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. This was like off the cuff. Like, this is the first take I did. So sorry if it's a little like scatterbrained. I had some stuff written down, but I just did this in one take, and I'm not gonna do another take. All right, you guys have a good one.